Greetings and salutations, fellow YouTubians. My name's Terry Andrews Jr., also known as the J5 Guru. Today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be working on the BaneBot gear motors, showing how I go ahead and grease these things up, disassemble them and reassemble them and grease them up prior to using them. I have two shafts here. This shaft is the standard shaft that comes with these, and then this one, I actually forget the exact specification for this, but this is one you can buy directly from BaneBot, and I have already modified this. I cut this down a little bit in length as per the the CAD, the latest CAD, I should say. So, yeah, this uses the dual motor configuration with the RS775 24 volt motors. Okay, so there's two motors, and I'll just get that out of the way. And yeah, the reason we're going with on the drive motors, we're going with the hex shaft output. Here we go. The hex shaft and the Vex Pro 15 tooth, and yeah, that's for the drive system of the robot track drives. So get them out of the way. This particular shaft is used for the track tip. Okay, so same exact gearboxes, just different output shafts. Okay, so this is the 16:1 Sport heavy duty version. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get some of this stuff out of my way. I've actually done a few of these already, just to show proof of that. They come with a plastic end cap thing, and yeah, I've got 9 of these to do. So, what's the difference between the heavy-duty version and the original gangster version? Well, I happen to have an original gangster version here, okay? So, let me go ahead and start taking this one apart. So what you do, these screws are just held in here by these rubber band things here. Just pop them off. Okay, you want to hold down on this, or the whole thing, all the gears will come flying out the bottom. Pull the two screws out. Okay, unloosen these screws here. Alright, and give this, just jiggle it back and forth and lift up slowly till the whole thing comes out. There you go. Alright. And then here, what I do is I just hold down here and I just pull that outer shell off. Alright, so what's the difference between the motors? Between the gearboxes. Okay. So it's the original OG version. Of course, it's a different form factor. But the main, most important thing here is the gear sets are different. Okay, you'll notice here the first set of I believe these are ring gears, and then the center one is called a sun gear, I believe. If I've got that wrong, I've got it wrong. This is the new version. We can see the difference immediately. These output gears are much wider. So these are rated at, I believe, 160 foot-pounds, maximum. And I believe these ones are rated at 120. But basically, for all practical purposes, the output gears on here are twice as wide as the original. So much beefier, much stronger. Again, this is the heavy duty version of the 16:1 Sport Gearbox by BaneBot. The model number is PSPH-44-H. Okay. So I'm going to get this one and put this all off to the side here. Okay, so the grease I'm using is the grease that they recommend. Okay. This is what they recommend. This is what I'm using. Okay. They manufacture it. They recommend it. That's what I'm using. So I put this back on here like this. Got my casing. Get that out of the way. All right. So let's get to this. All right. So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm using a piece from the robot, actually, a shaft collar, kind of hold this up here. So pop open my grease. I'm using a spudger. I'm not using like a bristle brush, such as this, because this, you can see right there, there's even a, these bristles have a tendency to want to come out, and I don't want one of these things landing in a gearbox. So I'm just using a metal spudger to apply the grease. So just going on here. Just like that. All right. I'm pulling this one off. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and again I'm going to apply the grease on here. Okay. And myself, I prefer to grease everything up. I want to make sure there's plenty of grease. Not that much, of course. Ugh. All right. There we go. There. All right. And down on here. Just like that. All right. Again, don't be afraid to put the grease on here. Now, with that being said, you can overfill these things. You don't want to overfill it, but because then you create hydraulic pressure of the grease, so on and so forth. But you definitely want to make sure to have enough grease in here. So now what I'm doing is this was facing this plate. I'm going to put it right back together the same way that they did. Now, one thing I do here is I press down the grease into that hole a little bit. Okay, just like that. And then going ahead and putting that on there. And doing so will force that grease up through the hole. And now I know that pin is well coated. Go back and do this one. And down on here, just like that. Alright. Grab another. Down on. I prefer using the tweezers so I do not get grease all over my hands. Because, well, it's grease. Okay, so there we go there. Cap over here. There we go. All right, so, yep, wide end or deep end here goes down on. So I just go down in like this. And I'm going to pull this up off of this metal piece here. I'm holding the shaft, and there we go. Yep, work it down in. There we go, just like that. Now, I'm going to apply a liberal amount of grease to the gear teeth themselves. See, just about like that. Come on. And there we go. And work that down in there. Alright. And now, being careful not to let the front piece come loose on you. Okay. At this point, what you might want to do is take the 2 screws for the front and put them in. Okay. That way you don't have to be in fear of losing the front piece. Alright, so now what I'm doing is I'm going to turn the output shaft and let all that grease mix up in there good. Oh yeah. That's what we want. You don't want to run these things dry, okay? So, I did that. Gonna top it off a little bit more. There we go. Alright, so I go on to the next one. Just kind of hold those bottom gears so they drop off of this. Oops. Yeah, come on. Come on. There you go. There's 2, 3, 4. There we go. Everybody's happy. Alright. So as you can see, this is not pressed in here. It's a splined fit. Okay. It's a very precision splined fit. But some of these I've found come out readily. Other ones like this just come out on their own. Of course, as you're doing this, yep, I can see right there I found a little piece of metal. You want to be checking for metal. Hey, it's a machined product. So, gotta go on here like this. Gonna hit those teeth. Now I'm gonna hit this face. And now I'm going to hit the side. Do I need to do this? Probably not. But this is my process. Okay. And then don't forget to do the top of the gear also. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this in here and hopefully this thing won't drop out. And down in. Okay. Now getting this in here can sometimes be a little tricky. Okay. You don't want to force anything. You want to try to get that lined up. Remember, you have 4 different gears in there, and they're all fighting for, where they want to be. I'm going to take this off of this piece. I have this setting on. I'm going to hold the shaft down here, and now I should be able to, and like I said, this can be a little tricky. Some of these, yep, you get lucky, and it goes right in. And other ones, like this one, just kind of take a little bit more patience. There we go. Dropped in. Right down in. I'm going to give it a little spin there. Okay. Push that down in. Another little spin. Alright. Back down. I can hear one of my neighbors is firing up their mini bike or motorcycle. It's that time of the year. Spring is just about here. So, now I go and I spread the grease on the pins and this faceplate here. I think this is called a ring or a gear carrier. Maybe a ring gear carrier. I'm not sure. So, there we go there. A little bit more. Alright. I'd say that looks pretty good. Alright. Okay. Now I want to put the final set of gears in there. And again, this is just my personal preference, but that face, get that work down in there. Sorry, I know I'm probably right in the way of the camera. Press that down in there, just like that. Wipe that off. Or I should say across the face. Grab another one. This one goes down in. Again, take your time with this. Do not rush things. Do not force things. There we go. Everything should just slide in easily. Go here. Grab this one. Don't ask me what kind of tweezers these are. I don't know. They're funky little ones. Actually, I think they might be used for stitch removal. They got some sort of funky little end on them. I'm thinking that they're used for removing sutures. There we go. And, come on. Go down. There you go. Yep. Yeah, they got some kind of funky little end on them there. I don't know if you can, well, this isn't going to autofocus because I locked the focus off. Because that's one problem when you're working this close with the camera. Okay, and there we go. That. There we go. Some good purchase on that. And this one goes in. And now here. Alright. That looks great. I'm happy with that. I'm going to give this a turn. It's going to be hard to turn because this is thick grease. Okay. There we go. Alright. I would say there's plenty of grease in there. Should provide years of service. Now, this is what I consider probably the most critical and most important, is this washer. And I don't know if it makes a difference, but so anyhow, with every washer, they're stamped out. And there's a rounded edge, and then there is a flat edge. Okay. So there's a sharp edge, like here it's sharp, and then here it's a little bit rounded. Myself, I prefer to have this rounded edge facing the gears, okay? This way, the sharper edge in my mind. It's not going to catch the gears, okay? It's not going to wear. So that's my personal preference. In the overall scheme of things within the universe, you know, does it matter? I don't know. Plus the fact, when I built aircraft engines, I know that there is a proper, a top and bottom to a washer, and they have to be put on correctly. So this is the round side, and I am now putting this in here. Now, put that down in, good there. And of course I had to get grease on my fingers. Okay, so there's that. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of grease and applying it to the back side of this washer. There we go. Good to go. All right, so now I'm going to take and wipe grease off of this flange surface here. I'm using a microfiber cloth because I want to make sure not to, I have like your regular shop rags, but I want to make sure not to get any fibrous material into that gearbox. So there we go. All right, so we're going to set this over here. Now I'm going to open up, and of course I forgot to lay it here, or it slid off. Ugh. Okay. One thing you may be asking is, can you just throw oil in here? No, I don't think, no. Use the grease they specify. Yeah, don't use oil. So, okay. And I'll cut this open. This is actually a packaging for this gearbox from years ago. Same exact gearbox, just they now packaged the gearbox separately from these pinions. Okay, so I already have a ton of these, so I'll throw them over here. Okay, so this is your 2-motor gearbox. Let's see if I grab the right one here. Hey, yay, I did. You're going to want to... there we go. Oh, that's tight. There we go. You want to pop these out. Now, you don't have to do this. You could just slap this on there, but I am showing you what's going on inside of this, just because. Okay, so pull the back cover off. Please note that the raised end of this gear is facing the rear of the case, all right, because on here there is a flat. Okay, this is just flat. This one has the raised profile. Raised profile should be facing upwards. Okay. One thing I would like to note, I've done a few of these, and I have found on some of them that this tap is not fully threaded. So basically, when you go to put the screws back in, they do not go all the way through. See, this is one of them. Okay, this is seizing up right now. That's not going all the way through. And I've found on some of these cases it actually prevents the two halves from sealing together properly. Or you over torque these things, you basically force it through, and that causes the aluminum to gall. So what I'm going to do here, and I didn't know that was going to happen, so These are 832. What are they? I think they're 832. Yeah, here we go. I have a set of starter taps, and yeah, these bottoming taps. So I'm going to choose a starter tap here. Okay, and I have a little, I think these are called pin vices. These work great for, oh wait, is that, no, maybe that was a 630, yeah, that was 632. Oh, there are so many things on this robot. It is so hard to keep track of. There we go, 632. It is so hard to keep track of exactly what size. Here we go. You get back in. There. Okay. Here we go. Don't want to tap that or chase. I'm going to chase the threads with this. Okay, so this goes in. Goes like that. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work. And I'm just going to do this very carefully. Okay, don't force it, for God's sake. There we go. I can feel it going right in. No problem whatsoever. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chase that thread. Get this out of the way so I don't get any. Chase that right through. I can still, there. Now it's finally loose. See, now it's loosened up. So yeah, somebody at the old manufacturing facility, and maybe they do that on purpose. Maybe they do it so that it grabs the screw right at the very, point where they feel it should. But I don't care for that. Because like I said, I've when I first encountered this, I just, hey man, started turning the screw a little bit harder, and then what I found is, like right here on this one, you may or may not see it, but a little bit of aluminum gets into the threads there. I don't like that one bit. So this is real tight right now, so just keep going. And there we go. Now it loose. See how much? Yep, that removed quite a bit. So again, don't force anything. Oops, that pin vise come loose on me. Put that side up there. I gotta do them. Gotta brush this out. Alright, come up here. Just chase these threads. Again, going in easy. Now it's starting to tighten up. So I know that they did not go all the way through. That one's real tight. Wow. I'm actually going to clean out before I pull that back through. There we go. Sometimes if you leave those little chips in there, when you try to back it back out, it will create problems for you. Alright, and one more. Again, go real easy. Make sure you're not cross-threading it. See, it's actually pretty, yep, it's in there pretty hard. Clean and chase those threads. And there we go. Alright, now you can see it's all. And again, that. Removed a lot of, well, finish them up. Alright, so that out of the way. Come back here. Alrighty, cool. So, you may or may not run into that. So, here we go. Back to this. So, I just wanted to show you that. So, we're going to apply grease. Let me move this out of the way. Apply grease to the pinion gear. And also to this face, okay? Because remember, this will be riding against this face, steel on aluminum, so, yep, I'm going to just kind of butter that up there. There we go. I like that. Alright, so I'm going to wipe off the excess from the side here. From the mating surfaces. Now, I don't have to crank these final two bolts down through screws because in the actual robot it uses countersunk screws. But so this goes on here like this. Again, you're going to have to finagle this around to get that to go in there. Sometimes they drop right in, sometimes they don't. I'm going to pull this out of here, and I'm just going to kind of fart. There we go. Goes right down in. I have no gap in here, which tells me that that washer, remember that metal washer, whatever that is, yep, that's in its proper place. I'm now going to run these long ones down in. Again, you don't want to force anything. Check your threads before threading things in. There we go. Yep. See, that's just going right in there. That's exactly what it should do. Let me check this one. Let it have a little rock and roll. If you hold everything, things too tight, sometimes I don't want to, go in there too well. So, yep. Go like that. Go like this. Now, what I like to do here is press these together, kind of get them square so the faces are parallel, and then give this a spin on the output shaft, and it is hard to do. So that kind of finds its happy place, okay? And I'm going to kind of hold that into place a little bit, just very lightly, and then just kind of snug these up a little bit. Check again. Yep. Okay. And now I can kind of drive them home. I like these long bolts that go through here because they go through and hit all the threads inside of here. But yeah, so there's that. And make sure, check, you can kind of feel if there's any binding or anything. There's no binding, everything's good. So what's the difference between the two? I like packing these with quite a bit of grease. It will keep the noise down. That's an added benefit of having grease in there. But there again, you don't want to pack them full because, yep, you'll get into hydrostatic or hydraulic pressures that would build up. And it'll make it harder for the gearbox, you know, to turn. But see, that's pretty quiet. You take one of these with no lubricant in them. Yes, they spin easy, but that's metal on metal, and it is loud. And remember, this is getting bolted up to a big aluminum plate, acts like an amplifier, so don't be afraid to put some grease in there. Alright, so last thing I'm going to do here in this video is just put this case on. I've already chased those threads in there, so I know that these screws will bottom out. You know, they will go all the way through. And again, yeah, like butter. I'm not tightening that. I'm just, you know, running it down till I feel it hit the bottom. I want to get all my fasteners in there first because this case has a little bit of rock and roll to it. There we go. See? I go down, I felt it stop, I back off a little bit so the back of that case can move around just a hair, just till I get all the fasteners in. Because these are machined to pretty precise tolerances, and sometimes the hardware needs a little bit of room to move around to find its happy place. There we go. Alright, got all the hardware in there, so now I just give it a little, just so they don't fall out of there on their own. Just like that. Alright, so there we go, and of course I forgot the gear. How many of you caught that? That's alright.
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
Again, gear goes in with this feature facing upward. There we go, just like that. And let me see, there we go. Get that right. Yep, back together. Alright. There, and there. Alright, so, in an upcoming video, I'll be showing how I put the pinions on the motors and, yep, install the motors on there. Give it a last spin, make sure, look in there, see if that gear is spinning on you. Last thing I like to do, don't want all that hard work ruined by some foreign debris or material. Just use a piece of painter tape over there. There we go. And that is number 7. So I have number 8 and number 9 to go. Now we'll add this to the pile of ones already done. Yay. So that's it. Hope you learned something or that answered any questions you may or may not have. But yeah, there we go. All right. Terry Andrews Jr., J5 Guru, saying please, become a patron, a Patreon member, or you subscribe to our Facebook group, and generally just, support us and enjoy building your Johnny 5 robot. We love hearing from you. Leave comments, on our Facebook group. or comment to this video. Yeah, there we go. Alrighty. Have a good one.